Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
I was talking about these only, that different, I think, slope, and I don't know how much you could hear. I suddenly found out that it was the internet is gone. I didn't realize that before. So I think you
So up to
know.
horizontal displacement you have taught, and this then when you said slope, then internet is gone.
Then it has gone. So the slope. So subsidence is the vertical displacement, and as I told last time that there is a there is a there is a this vector, and this vector has two parts. One is the vertical part. Vertical part is the subsidence part, and horizontal part is uh, the horizontal displacement part. Like S is the subsidence, U is the horizontal displacement. Now, derivative of this S is the slope, and derivative with respect to X, with respect to this distance. So, if there is 2 point, let's say 2 discrete point we are measuring, this is a surface and we are measuring the displacements. These 3 directional displacement we measure, okay, and this directional displacement is one is vertical, and there will be 2 horizontal. So these 2 horizontal displacement may be, let me take another color. So it may be any direction this horizontal, and resultant of this horizontal displacement and this vertical displacement will be your actually subsidence here. Okay. So that is what it means. So there is a, when the particle moves, it moves in 3D. That is what I am trying to show you here. So now, if I take along this line, and let's say this is the line X, and along this line, if I now take the derivative of Z, that means the S, that is the displacement S. Now, if I take ds dx, that will be the slope. Okay. Now, discretely, if I have monitored in 2 different points, then subsidence at C minus subsidence of A divided by that distance. The curvature will be related to again the derivative of this one. So it is this. So curvature we use, but not so much. What we use is the horizontal strain, and horizontal strain is very, very important for any building construction. Also, the horizontal strain is what is being monitored, or there is a guideline. Let me tell you a guideline for mines. If there is a forest area, okay, then under the forest you are doing some excavation, then it is said 10 mm per meter. Okay, this is the maximum you can go, the horizontal strain. Now, what is horizontal strain? As I told you, it is du dx. U is the horizontal displacement along that line X. Similarly, there can be du dy. Okay, if the y is another direction. Okay, so now what is 10 mm per meter? It is basically, we are saying the maximum allowable is this 0.01. Okay, the maximum allowable is 0.01 strain, horizontal strain. Okay, this is the maximum allowable. Now, over a village or over a city area, the maximum allowable is 5 mm. This is the guideline per meter. So, which is basically 0.005. So you can see this is the maximum allowable, okay, for a mines, and they have to maintain it. Okay, so subsidence is a very important parameter. Even before you start any excavation, let's say any mining activities underground, you have to submit the report to the government. If it is a ministry, then it has to be Ministry of Coal. If it is a coal mines, if it is a metal mine, it has to be Ministry of Mines. The company has to submit a report that how they are going to maintain these values. What will be the mitigation plan? If it exceeds this value, what they are going to do? So they have to give a plan even before they start the mining operation. Okay. So these are the very important parameter you should remember. Now, this is for a subcritical. I'm going to define it right after this. And this is for supercritical. I think last time also I explained this. Today I will use some mathematical thing, just an equation. So for subcritical, what happened is this is the subsidence profile. This blue line is, let's say, the surface, and vertically the surface has come down like this. It has come down like that vertically. Now, if you take our x is either this way positive and this way negative, okay, right from the middle. Now, if I now take a slope of this slope is it is given here. This small dotted line here, this is the slope. Okay, and the u, this curve is u, the horizontal strain. So in the horizontal strain, what is happening is at the end it is 0 and middle again it will be 0 because there is no horizontal movement. So this is again here 0, and the maximum will come somewhere around where the curvature is changing. I will tell you, it's called inflection point. Okay, I'm going to define it. Inflection point where the curvature changes. Basically, it comes like this, then it becomes like that. So there is two curvature. This is the radius of curvature here and radius of curvature here. So these are the two different curvature, and that we call inflection point. You know, also in the mathematics also they call it inflection point. And this is the point where in the surface you will see a crack. Okay. So when we go for subsidence, measurement and assessment, we go over on the surface, we walk over that longwall panel, and we see where the crack has developed, and that is probably the point or the line of inflection along that panel parallel. So in 2D, we will see this is a point. So that in that point, your u will be maximum. So this is maximum. Now du dx is this one. Du dx, let me take another color. So it will be something like this. Okay. That means at inflection point again, du dx will be 0 because this is the u is maximum there. So it is basically nothing but the slope of this line of u. This is what is du dx. Okay. Now here this is for subcritical, where there is a one point where the maximum subsidence occurs. But this is the supercritical where S max has occurred. You can see there is a difference. I have written here S0 and this is S max. X max last time I defined. This is the maximum possible subsidence which that particular ground will allow because of certain mining height. Okay. Now, after that, if you even increase the panel length or panel width, even if you increase, what is going to happen is these will just extend. So if you increase the panel width, this will just happen like this. The maximum value will not change. Okay, the maximum value will not change. So this is what is the maximum value, and when supercritical happens, we know the maximum value has already occurred. Now, there are some definition of inflection point. I already told you. This is basically divides the concave and convex portion of the curve. And generally, if you go by mathematics also, at the inflection point, the subsidence will be, the subsidence at inflection point will be S naught by 2. Okay, this is by definition of the inflection point where the curvature changes. Then angle of draw. Now angle of draw is from this corner, we will go to the zero subsidence, and with this vertical line, whatever is the angle. So this delta angle is angle of draw. This is called angle of draw, and as you can see by definition, draw means this is drawing the material. So from zero subsidence, from the panel edge to zero subsidence, you draw a line, and with that vertical line, whatever is the angle it forms, that we call the angle of draw. And that's a very important angle, because this defines the subsidence basin. If you, not this one, like this defines this basin, the maximum area of influence. Okay, so that's why this angle is very important, angle of draw. This is normally 30 to 35 degree. That is what happened. So what is happening is, even if your width is panel width is some W, let's say this is some W, this one will be much bigger than W. That is what we are talking. So subsidence basin will be much bigger than W, and that we normally write that basin will be W plus 2H tan delta. Okay, because this is H tan delta. H is the depth of the seam, of the coal seam. So both sides you add 2H tan delta. So this will be the width of the basin. Okay, so width of the panel plus 2H tan delta. Okay. Now for subcritical, it is very easy to calculate like this, but for supercritical, it is not so easy. You can see this basin will be calculated, how far we are seeing this zone, and from that the zone of influence. That means where is the maximum subsidence. We have to know that extent is also has to be known. I will come to that. Then there is called angle of critical deformation. This angle is given by this theta angle. Now, what is angle of critical deformation? Is, let's say I am zooming this area. Okay, what is happening is this is my subsidence, and let's say this is my surface. This is where is the zero subsidence. Okay. Now I have drawn this somewhere. This is the angle delta. Now let's say in this particular area I have a house. Okay. And this house is built for a du dx less than 0.005. The builder has said, yes, you can be, I am building this house, and where the horizontal strain which this building can take, okay, that will be at least 0.5% or 0.005. In other words, even if the ground moves, the building will not see any crack. Okay. So, if that is the case, that means the building will be okay, any structure will be okay. Then we draw another line, and then this angle we call theta, and which is the angle of critical deformation. So, we are saying any house or any structure lying in between this, remember that here is also subsidence is affecting, but this much subsidence is not going to affect the structure. So that angle we are calling an angle of critical deformation. Now, why this is important? Let me show you here why it is important. Now, let's say because of this, so this area is under that angle of critical deformation. Okay. So you can see it's a huge area we are talking about. Okay, in this green zone. So this green zone, if some houses are there, they're safe. So even if they are inside the subsidence basin, but they are still will be safe because they have maintained the building that standard of 0.5%, the horizontal strength. So even if there is a building or there is a structure, we hope nothing will happen due to this subsidence. That's why it is called that critical. This is very important because lot of court cases are being fought, because of this 2-3 degree, but 2-3 degree, it's very less to somebody, but when you plot it on the surface, it's a huge area we are talking about. Okay. Then there is a something called angle of break. Okay. And then there is a radius and angle of major influence. Okay. Now, let me first talk about this angle of break, this eta. This here, sometimes we get it right, sometimes we do not get it right. I told you that we normally go to the surface and we see where is the crack. Then we try to extrapolate that from this, because this point is now known where is the crack has occurred. Then we try to draw this line and this line from that, and that angle will give me the angle of break, because wherever it has broken in the surface or a crack has happened, if I can pinpoint that point and then I draw a line from the panel edge, and with the vertical line, the angle is called angle of break. Okay.
The break should happen at the inflection point.
Yeah, generally, let me tell you, this is generally, theoretically, it should happen. But when you go to the surface, it can be any other point also. Okay. It may not be, because as I'm telling you, it's a mother nature, it can happen anywhere. But it will be generally at that point, at that, along that inflection line. But if it is there, it is very good. If it is not there, wherever it has happened, so we can plot that in our figure and then find out that angle of break. Okay. That's why I have shifted it from the inflection point. It may be at the inflection point, it may not be in the inflection point. Because there are so many rock layers, you can understand now. Last time I showed you, and they are breaking it gradually and going all the way. So there's a lot of things can happen, and that may shift here and there. 3-4 meter here and there shift can always happen. Okay. And angle of major influence is for supercritical only. It normally doesn't happen for subcritical. Wherever is the maximum subsidence we have seen here, and then it is all the way, these are the maximum subsidence. This is all maximum subsidence here. So we draw that line, and this angle is angle here. It has gone other way. It is not. It is basically this. It's the same angle. So this angle is the angle of major influence. Okay, we call this angle. This is for only for supercritical subsidence, not for subcritical. And normally for supercritical, the inflection point is inside the panel. For subcritical, it is outside the panel generally, and for critical, it's right on the edge of the panel. Okay, because it's a theoretical, so it will be right on the edge of that panel. And when we get this right here, I'm showing. Let me delete this thing, then you will be able to see much better way. Now you see this is the angle here. Then I'm drawing it here. So this is the angle. Now from here to here, we call the basically this is the diameter of the major influence, and then half of this is the radius of influence. And in general, it has been seen wherever is the maximum U, that point is generally the R, the center point. Generally, again, I am saying, but it may be the here and there 2-3 meter. It can always happen. So this basically the diameter of the major influence, and half of this is the radius of major influence. Okay, and this is the angle of major influence for supercritical, because these area we say that if there is a house, this will just come down just like that. Okay, this will just come down, right? So it just as if it is just coming down. Okay, but here is the major activity happens because U is acting. U is not zero. In this entire area, U is zero. Okay, there is no horizontal movement. As long as there is no horizontal movement, your building structure, everything is safe. Everything is safe because they are just coming vertically downward. Nothing else is happening. Until and unless you have some underground pipeline, let's say water pipeline, Ethernet line or something, they will have problem. The water pipeline may broke or something can happen. So even before that, we shift everything because we know subsidence will happen. So if there is any water pipeline, electricity line, Ethernet line, everything is going through the underground of just below the surface, then those need to be taken out before we go for mining. Okay. One time I did one work. There was a water tank, and this was in US. There was a water tank, and people got afraid when the mine will pass through that. This water tank will collapse, and there will be no water. And fortunately, what happened? We did the study, and then we suggested the local administration that they must give some additional water supply must be there while the mining is progressing through that. But very interestingly, nothing happened to that water tank. It just came down vertically downward a little bit. That's it. Nothing happened. No crack, nothing. But after a year or so, again that tank was filled with water. So Although there are some water pipeline and those things, they get little damaged. Those were repaired and then everything went fine. But during that 5-6 months when the mine progressed, so the local administration used another source of water to supply to the houses nearby. In US anyway, very less people lives around those areas, so there was not much difficulty. But what I'm saying is, while you do mining, the subsidence will be there, and somebody has to take care of it. That what happens if the land will subside, and land will subside. You cannot stop it. Okay, now we come down to the estimation of the subsidence. Little bit of mathematical calculations, although those are not so difficult. So as I told you, the S max, that is the maximum possible subsidence, is related to the mining height, which is given by M, this M here. This is the mining height, and mining height I defined yesterday also, last time also. This is the M, the how much you are mining, and depth is whatever the height from the surface. So it is related to mining height, definitely. If you are mining 2 meter, you will not have more than 2 meter. And if you are doing 3 meter, it will never be more than 3 meter. Alpha is the inclination of the seam. So if the seam is something like this flat, then alpha equals to 0, or it may go some alpha is equals to some degree, let's say 5 degree or 10 degree something. Then that need to be considered, because it is the vertical component which we are talking about, and the A is the subsidence factor. Now this subsidence factor, as I told you, it depends on the rock layers above the coal seams, whether they are soft, hard, all this kind of, then depth will definitely matter. Everything combined, this subsidence factor comes. The subsidence factor, as you can see, it will be less than 1. A will be, basically I should put 0 here, and this is less than 1. And this we normally see not exactly goes to 0, about 0.2, something like this. But it is normally from 0 to 1. But you can put about 20% subsidence will happen no matter what you do. Even if we are filling the void area, even before filling, there will be subsidence. So there will be some subsidence, 15-20% subsidence will be always there. And the maximum value so far found in all over the world is 0.92. 0.92. This was found in Poland, over a coal mine. And if the depth is shallow, let's say less than 100 meter or so, this A factor will be very high, close to 1 basically. Definitely you can understand if you are mining 50 meter below and if you are mining 500 meter below, the subsidence factor will be definitely different. Okay. So the 500 meter will show very less. Now, there are 2-3 different methods of calculating this subsidence factor. I'm just giving you a chart here by which we can find the subsidence factor, provided we know a parameter called WC. And I'm going to tell you what is WC. This is the critical width of the panel. That means at what width the subsidence become critical. Okay. And so there is a subcritical, it goes to critical, then supercritical. So WC is the width at which it become critical. So if I know this critical width divided by the depth, which is H, if I know this value, let's say if this is 1.5, I come down here and I see subsidence factor, what is the value. So this is a curve given by a Chinese study. They have done the similar study was also done in UK. So these are the mostly two studies. There was hardly any study done in India, but there is an empirical relationship given, but I do not see anybody use that. People are using this curve. So as you are saying that as you are going very closer to 1, okay, this ratio goes down. Okay, this ratio, that means what is happening is WC by H goes down. Okay, that means your critical width is pretty low. So your subcritical zone will be very, very small. Okay, you will quickly go to the supercritical. Now, what I mean by all this critical, subcritical, and supercritical, it is here. This is the actual what I'm going to say. But before that, let me explain this graph. Then you will understand what I'm saying here. What is the critical width? Now, critical width, let's say now mine is right here, where the depth is H1. Let's say my depth is H1 and my panel width is W1, and I got S max right at 1 point. That means I can say this I have written with delta, but you could write with that angle of major influence also. But I have written here with the angle of draw because I put it here at 0 also. Now in a critical case, this is angle of draw. Our angle of major influence will be the same, and this is also delta. Okay, so what we can see, the W is 2 times H tan delta. The width this is the H, so this is delta, so this is H tan delta, so W will be coming this. This is my critical width. And that, if this is the case, then we call it a critical subsidence. Okay. Now you see, let's assume now this width right here is little bigger. Oh, sorry. And we have same angle from here to here, and you see this point come here above the surface. Okay, so in other words, it cuts the surface right here. So this will be supercritical here. Okay, so if it is here and here, then what will happen? See, this is this is where it will be S max, this entire zone. So that become your supercritical in the same depth. But if the same width is coming below, H2 below, then again it is critical. So you can see the relationship between width and the panel width and the depth. Okay, so there is a relationship. If you want to make your panel wider, your depth should be much more if you want a critical subsidence. So this need to be balanced. Now, if I make it smaller, if my width is smaller now, if my width is smaller here to here, then you can see, oh sorry, yeah. Then it comes here. That means this point doesn't cut the surface. Since it is not cutting the surface, now my panel width is only this much. So now since it is not cutting the surface, so this is basically subcritical. Means we have not reached to the critical part. So this is what is explained here again, and it is also given in the book. So now you can see this is critical, this is supercritical when W become more than the WC, and this is when W is less than the WC. So for the critical case, as I'm telling you, WC is equals to 2H tan beta. Now the beta or delta, this is either one you can use. So if I now know that this is about 35 degree, which is the mostly found in the UK, the angle of draw, this angle of draw is about 35 degree in UK, then WC is 1.4H. This is basically nothing but this 2 into tan beta is 1.4. So now you can see WC by H is 1.4. So if you go here, wherever I have given, so their average A factor was about close to 0.7, 0.65 to 0.7. So in other words, if they are mining 2 meter, they will be seeing about 1.3 to 1.4 meter of maximum subsidence on the surface. Now, if you stay in the subcritical zone, you can reduce T. If you reduce the panel width less than 1.4 into H, then you can reduce the value of the maximum subsidence because you will be in the subcritical zone. So, if let's say somebody says no, you cannot subside the land more than 1 meter, okay, then you readjust your panel width because this is in our hand. How much to mine? How much area I am going to mine? So we will reduce the width of the panel so that we stay within 1 meter or so. Okay. And for supercritical, this is already you can see it has to be more. So we normally do not try to go supercritical. In fact, in India, there is no mine which has gone to supercritical range. Now there is a one mine is being excavated in Singareni Colliery. It's called Adriala Longwall project. There it may go, but the depth is pretty high also. So that's why my feeling is it will never go to. The depth is almost 400 plus meter, and their panel width is about 250 meter. So still it doesn't go to critical size because in India we consider beta is about 30 degree. So it is basically 1.15 H. So you see, even if to go to supercritical, it has to be, if it is a 400 meter H, then it has to be at least 450 meter or so. Has to be the panel width. They are doing just 250 meter. So that is also will be in the subcritical zone. And with measurement, we are also seeing that this is the subcritical. Okay. So this is how it should be very clear that there is mainly two type of subsidence. One is subcritical, one is supercritical, and critical is theoretical. They are defined. Now a little bit of estimation. I think this is what is the last topic I'm going to tell you. And there are many methods of estimating subsidence. One is profile function. I have written here, and this is out of the profile function. I'm just going to tell you one. There are some method called, so profile function is one. Another is called analytical function or analytical approach. Another is influence function. This is now the most popular, and it's a very interesting method. And then numerical approach. So another is maybe analytical or mathematical, you can also call mathematical. This method is not so popular because it doesn't work. we do not go in the plastic zone. Those fracture and this kind of thing we do not talk about in here. And as a result, the estimation is not so accurate. Profile function need to be found out by measurement. Okay, I will come to that. This is what I'm going to tell. The influence function methods is a very new method and is being used in many places. But there is also a catch. We have to know that influence function. We also have to know the influence function. To know the influence function is not so easy. But if once we know that, it is a very interesting method. We can find out many things out of this. If you read in the book in your leisure time, you will see that method is explained well. And numerical approach is also hugely being used. And this can take care of different rock types, different loading conditions, and it also gives pretty accurate estimation if proper material properties and all those things we can know. Then this also gives very accurate results. So these days, influence function and numerical approach are being used heavily. Profile function, as I'm telling you, it was also popular. These days also we do. This is the starting point. Now, how we do, let me tell you. Let's say if this is the panel, and this is the panel width, and this is the panel length. Then what we do is we put some measurement points. Now, what we do is we take let's say a rod, a steel rod, like a rock bolts, or we make small 100 millimeter or 150 millimeter diameter, about 3 meter long or 2 meter long, and we insert it inside the ground, and we grout it just like we dig a hole, then put the grout material like cement and sand mix, and then we insert that rod or that cemented, that column. In a very cold country area, this need to be protected because the temperature can go below 0 degrees centigrade. So some insulation is also given in a very cold countries. In India, we do not give, although our case is different. Our temperature can go up to. It's to say that the rod, if it is a steel rod, it should not increase or decrease in length due to temperature difference. Okay, because we are trying to measure sub-millimetric. Remember that it's sometime below a millimeter we are trying to measure. So we put like this. Maybe there is another direction like this, and we also put lot of like this kind of. We call it monument. Some people call it pillar. And then by surveying method or by these days GPS technology, we have to measure all 3 directional displacement of this point. Let's say today I am measuring this. It's what we call, let's say, easting, northing, and the elevation. Elevation is on the top. Okay, so easting, northing we are measuring, and the elevation of that rod. So if I have to say this is the ground, so inside the ground it goes a little bit, and on the above the ground it is there. Now we are measuring the displacement of this top point. Okay, this is my ground. So this is a monument or a pillar. So we are measuring this displacement of this point. So as you can see, if the subsidence happen, so this is going to move, right? This is going to move like this. So this is the displacement vector. Okay, that is what we are trying to measure it. So today we measure it, again we come tomorrow or after 2 days and we see whether anything has happened, any changes happen. Like this, periodically you have to measure at least for 1 year, first 1 year. Once we get these measurements, we plot this. Okay, we plot this and plot the vertical displacement. That means this will be the vertical displacement, this S we are going to plot, and something like this curve we will get. Okay, that is what is my subsidence. And if you plot any horizontal, then you will get the horizontal displacement also. Okay, now once we have plotted it, then we try to fit this thing with a curve called tan hyperabolic function. We normally use tan hyperabolic function. There are many other functions. That's why I told you there are many profile functions, out of which this tan hyperabolic is the most popular. Now it has mostly one parameter, the C. The parameter C is the site constant, and that's why the site constant, meaning it depends on the rock type, like here, right? For different site, the C value will be different. And R is already given. R is becoming your tan H tan delta. Delta is the angle of drop. Angle of drop. So we already know the R. What we have to know is the C, and C will be known when we plot this graph and fit it or estimate it using this tan hyperabolic function. Now, this C here, once I know the C, my curve is complete. Okay. Now this is, I have given here S max. You can use S0 also if it is subcritical. You can replace it by S0. That is the maximum subsidence happened at that particular time. It happens mostly in the middle of the panel. So you can use that S0 also. Now, why tan hyperabolic function? You may ask. Now, you know the tan hyperabolic function. It is e to the power x minus e to the power minus x divided by e to the power x plus e to the power minus x. Okay, this you know. Now, this has a particular characteristics, this function. What it is? In the same function, it has two curvature. At x equals to 0, okay, it will have two curvature. One is concave, another is convex. So one will go, let me delete all this, then I can draw that. See, one will be something like, another will be something like, I have drawn very bad. So it's a very distinct two curvature. One is in this direction, one in this direction. So this function inbuilt has these two curvature. So you do not have to use two equations. And another property is for this, this is S0 by 2 inflection point. If this is the S0, this automatic come as S0 by 2. So both the property, that inflection properties, are being handled by this tan hyperabolic function. So only here we do not know is the C value, and that need to be calculated from the measurement. Once we know this value from the measurement, then any other panel being mined in that particular area, we can use that particular C value and we can predict the subsidence. So only thing, if I know the value of C, I'm not only predicting the maximum subsidence, I'm also predicting the shape of that subsidence, that how this shape will look like along a particular horizontal line. Okay. Now, from this, once you know that, so you can see the property. If C equals to 0, what is the value of tan H? Can anybody tell me? Sorry, if X equals to 0, what is the value of tan H?
0.
It is 0.
0.
Okay, so you are saying this is S0 by 2 because this is 0, so this is 1. So our X, this X is given wrongly. It is starting from right at the inflection point, right here, wherever is the inflection point. So at the inflection point, the X equals to 0. Then if you are taking towards positive X, if you are going towards positive X, this tan H value is positive and it will go towards 1 at infinity though, but we'll definitely not go at infinity. So we'll stop somewhere with some 5% or error. We'll assume that will become 0. And if you go in the other direction, you will come to minus of that value. So X is minus, then it will become negative value. And after some time, it will become basically -1 and with some error, of course. Otherwise, this tan H X, this value will be 1 at infinity, but definitely will not go to infinity. So after some distance, we can consider as infinity, and then it will become 1. So this become S max or the S0, that is the maximum value. So that's why this curve is perfectly giving the shape of the subsidence curve, and that's why this tan hyperbolic function is one of the most popular function to be used. Okay, so I will stop right here. So once you know this value, now you can find out. Once you know this distance, then you can find out the delta. Okay, provided H is given, you can find out the delta, because if this distance you know from the inflection point, and if you are measuring, if you are going to the surface and seeing this is where his crack has happened, so I know this offset distance from the panel edge, so I can easily find out the angle delta, okay, from this curve also, or vice versa. If I know the delta, I can also find out the this offset distance, where will be that inflection point. Okay, so either way I can find the inflection point if delta is known, or if inflection point is given, I can know the delta. Okay, provided this curve is known, that is the C value is known. So like that we calculate and we find out other parameter also. Okay, but the main thing is one has to measure it, and this is a very painstaking job. Normally the mining people, they measure it, so they have surveyors and they do periodically measure the subsidence. This is also mandatory. They have to measure subsidence. Okay, the mining people. So with this, I will stop right here.